So now we are going to do a really nice technique. It's called the cobblestone effect. Okay, it's like a texture. It's like the pebbles on the ground where it's like a pathway for people to walk, and sometimes it just adds like a really nice effect to cover the board. Is one thing that I use, because most times when we are working on themed cakes, we don't want to leave the board just like empty and have the shiny silver golden board like that, because we have put in a lot of effort on the cake, so we work on the board as well. Or otherwise the cobblestone is a good addition when you're going to use the same technique over a sheet of fondant, and you could just wrap it around on the cake, so you have the cobblestone on the sides of the cake as well. Also you could just use it on the top of the cake, where you can just depict a pathway, like maybe there is themed a park cake or something, where you just need to, like there's a fairy house cake, and you have a pathway that just is filled with cobblestone, so you just use this technique. Okay, so for that, what I have here is some gray fondant and white fondant, and after I've just done with the cobblestones, I'm going to dust them. So I have petal dusts, so it's a gray colored dust, but then the name says gunmetal. I also have white to just lighten it up. I then have a rolling pin and some brushes to dust the color, and that's just a plate to get the dust on, and I have a board. So I'm just going to use this board to um, make the technique and show it to you. And now if you're going to use this technique to cover a board in the first place, you want the fondant to just stick on the board. So that's a little bit of shortening. I'm just picking up in my fingers, and I'm just going to spread it out. Now even if you're going to cover your board with a simple sheet of fondant, you just want the board to be covered with shortening. A thin layer should be fine. And you have the board ready. And now what I'm going to do is pick up a little bit of the gray fondant, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of white fondant, and I'm going to roughly, we're not going to just mix the both like the whole of the portion, because we keep kneading and then you're just going to have a lighter shade of gray. We just need to stop kneading at a certain point, so you start seeing the marble effect, and then you want the marbling to be random. Okay, so I'm just going to start adding very random pieces, because you don't want them to be super smooth. So pick up and just press it down. So you can look out for cobblestone, actual cobblestones, so you will know the color combinations in which you can find the pebbles. Like there are maybe more of white and then less of gray. I'm just going to twist. So now because I'm just going to show the effect of how the cobblestone is going to look, I am doing it to the entire board. Now if you're going to actually make this cobblestone effect on a cake, okay, then you don't have to be doing it to the entire board. You can place your cake on the board, and whatever is the left out board that is exposed, you just have to fill up only that spot with the fondant. So you don't have to actually fill up and then place the cake over it. That will be like wasting out a lot of fondant. So all the gaps we could just fill up by pressing it out. So just place them. So let me just continue doing this and fill up the entire board with these pieces randomly, and then I'll just get back to show you how to add the depth by shading on the creases of these pebbles. So now I've finished adding till the edge here. Just see some of the leftovers, and most of it is just nicely jam packed. You can see a little bit of the gaps here. Just put them together, and in case if you had not had leveled pebbles out, use a rolling pin to just go over top and then level it, and just make sure it's just, if you're covering up on the board, and just making sure it's just concealed within the board's circumference. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up a Dresden tool and just go and make the joints a little more deeper. So it will be easier for me if I'm going to just dust the gray, because when the cobblestones are there, they have the rounded edge. Okay, and when the light falls on from a different direction, now you're just going to have shadows in between each of the pebbles, right? So that shadow is what we're just going to depict using the dusting that we are going to do. Okay, so once you've just made the lines with the Dresden tool, I'm just going to get the brown dust. You need a thin brush. I'm also going to get white. You can use white if you have, or you could use corn flour as well to lighten the shade. I'm just going to first lighten it out and check, because you don't want to do the dark, but just check if the shade just fits in and gives the shadow. I'm going to use more of gray now without adding the white, because there is quite a bit of gray here. An addition of white is just making it too subtle. So now I'm just going to continue doing this and get the gray dusted in all the crevices, and then I'll get back once I have finished doing it for all the pebbles here. So I'm just finishing up and brushing on just within the edges. I switched over to a bit bigger brush to complete it faster, and then I'm just going to dust off the excess. And if you just want a bit more dramatic look, because as you have dusted it out, you're just going to have the color come over on the top as well. Okay. So you can use a clean towel with vodka touched, so it's going to evaporate faster, or if it's just on the board, then you could just use wet wipes. So you just go on the top, don't wipe off fully, but so these are the extra dust that is on the top of the fondant. But then when you do that, you can see the difference between this side where I've just wiped off, you have the dust coming here. The dust here stays inside the crevices when you just wipe off on the top, but here you can see the dust is also there on the top, and the difference between what is there inside the crevices and outside the crevices is just not like really differentiable here on this side. But as you wipe here, you can see there's that clear definition of that darker shade that is on just the crevices. So you'll have just the marble shade that was from the fondant on the outside, and the gray dust will just stay on the crevices. So this wiping will actually bring out the actual cobblestone. So instead of gray, you could choose to use brown, and that means that there's like a lot of mud or a lot of dirt on the path. But when you do that, because it's gray and the fondant that we used is also gray, it doesn't matter if you don't wipe off and just skip this step. But if you're just going to use a different color, then wiping on the top and leaving the inside with the shade, whatever we had dusted, becomes essential. Okay, so there you have the completed cobblestone effect. Makes a nice addition to the board. You could do it just on the sides, like I said, you're going to place the cake on the center, or you could do this like make it a little more flatter. You do that to a patch of fondant and then wrap it around like a panel around on the size of the cake, like maybe you're doing a castle cake and then you want this stone wall effect on the sides of the cake as well. And obviously this you could do it like a pathway for a fairy tale. So yes, we've just learned how to make a beautiful cobblestone effect on a cake board.